What you want to remember is, and there's varying degrees of opinion out here, but I tend to increase when you have an ad set that is working pretty well, obviously, and you started out with a low budget. It's important to be able to increase that budget, because the more money that you spend, obviously, the more leads that you're going to get. Now, we call this, an incremental increase. And so what happens is, Facebook's algorithm operates in its own way. Nobody really knows how that way is, but there's a lot of speculation out there. And some of the best practices that you see talk about you want to gradually increase your budget. And you gradually increase your budget, we're running a $10 budget here. We want to increase that budget by about 20% every single day that we feel like this thing is really moving. And so in the case of this, what we would want to do is we would increase the budget. So say that, in the first few days I'm running at $10 a day and things are going well. I'm getting leads at a pretty good price, and now I want to up this budget and spend a little bit more. What I would do at that point is simply click on the ad set, expand the pencil, get to the point where you can edit, and then I would increase it, by 20%. So my $10 a day would go to $12 a day, and then all other things considered, I would go ahead and click on publish. And this is the safe and easy way for you to take a campaign that seems to be returning really good results for you and inch that up. Okay. Now, as you can imagine, every time you inch that up, you have to give it a little bit of time in order to, to see how the results are going. At that point, 24 hours, every 24 hours, if you continue to see an increase in the amount of leads that you get, or an increase, a steadiness in the cost of the leads that are coming in, you may very well want to take that and you would want to continue to increase that. And you can do that every 24 hours, increasing that up to 20%. That is a relatively slow way of doing it, especially as we start out with such low budgets. I would encourage you guys to test out at $10 per ad set to begin with, to look at how the data comes in, so that you can understand if things are being well received by your audience groups in the way of click-through rate and the cost per mile and all of those things that we talked about, right? So how do you do it more aggressively? Say that you have an ad set that seemingly is doing very, very well, and you're at the point now where you really, really would like to go ahead and increase that ad set. Well, very simply stated, after you've done that a few times and things continue to do well for you, right? Let's just imagine that this was up to a $50 now at this point. We've incrementally bumped it up and it still continues to do well. You could simply put a check next to that particular ad set, and I would encourage you to duplicate that ad set at this point. So this is a way that you can go ahead and associate an entirely new budget to basically the same targeting. And you could pour even more money than you could incrementally increasing the budget 20% every single day. So I'd simply put a check next to that ad set that's working really well for me, and I'd click duplicate. Once the system populates here, I'll show you. And here is our duplicated, here's our duplicated ad set. You'll notice it should say copy at the end. And it does. Okay. Now at this point, what we're doing is we're not changing any of the targeting. We're not changing any of the targeting at the moment. At the moment, our interest lies in being able to spend more money, because that one ad set that we've been incrementally increasing at 20% today continues to perform really well. So we want to be pretty aggressive. If you need a large number of leads, you'll be pretty aggressive in trying to go ahead and turn that into something that provides you more opportunities, more leads, etc. And you do that by spending more money. So over here in the budget, at this point, what we're going to do is we may choose to run it at $75 a day. Now, bear in mind, this is only after the previous ad set has continued to work for us, has continued to bring in leads. Those leads are, very, very profitable, and we continue to incrementally increase that budget 20% every single day. and we desire to spend more money because we desire to have more leads. At that point, this is what you would do as a next step. Very simply stated, and I'll repeat, all we did was duplicate that ad set, that original ad set, and we're going to associate a higher dollar budget per day on the ad spend for this particular one. Now, we're not going to do anything with the targeting because this audience is operating very, very well for us. Obviously, they are into what we're pushing. The only thing is we need more of the audience to be able to see the ad. And so before, we had a constraint, basically, because we could only expand that budget at 20% per day. Here, you're going to be able to obviously associate a much higher budget to it, and we would publish it, right? And so the same thing goes for this. You would take this and you would scale it incrementally per day as well, no more than 20%, so on and so forth. So that is simply duplicating a winning ad set that you would like to pour more money into that particular ad set to further and quicker test the audience that is seemingly responsive. Okay? All right, so the next thing that I want to show you is what we would call a manual bid, the manual bidding process. And if I can explain manual bidding,